This is a 1950 PYE 9-inch television, model LV30. It was produced in huge numbers because it was one of the first sets that the ordinary public could afford to buy. It cost around about £45 plus the purchase tax in those days that we had in this country. It was a much simpler set than the earlier D16T of the earlier video that I've done. It doesn't have a mains transformer in it. It uses miniature valves rather than the great big octal valves of the 1946 model, and generally much easier to produce and obviously cheaper to transport because it's lighter, and people that bought these really enjoyed them very much. They watched the coronation on them of our Queen Elizabeth II, and they had the whole street in because they were probably the only people in the road with a television set, and they all gathered around this little 9-inch screen and watched the ceremony, and it's something people have never really forgotten, that were fortunate enough to watch it at that time. Well, I'll turn it round and let you have a look at it, the actual internal workings, and I'll try and explain in simple terms exactly what does what. Such good music this, I don't want to turn it off. Right, let's show you what's inside. That's the rear chassis view of the little PYE. Much simpler, as you can see, but it does have a few similarities to the original D16T. The RF unit here producing the vision and sound signals is on the right hand side as on the earlier model. The mains dropping resistor that dispenses with the mains transformer is now on the left, and the line output valve and the boost rectifier and HD rectifier are mounted in a screening box here. It uses a 9-inch cathode ray tube, a Mallard MW2216, and this time it's got a neon trap magnet, and basically, without being too technical, that prevents a discoloured area in the centre of the tube that was always a problem with old tubes. The loudspeaker's mounted on the side, and you've got this very many less preset controls: line hold, frame hold, brightness, picture height and frame linearity on the back. And the aerial socket, there's three inputs. There's one for a low input level input if you're a long way from the transmitter, a centre one if you're medium range, and a top one if you're very, very close to Alexandra Palace. You would have had to plug your aerial in there, otherwise you'd have got signal overload. Let's turn it round again and have another look at it. This little snippet of film is the Glenn Miller story, as you're probably all aware. Very small set, very, very light. You can pick it up virtually with one hand. Very well constructed. Okay, I've turned the set round, and I'll try and explain exactly what's going on here. The aerial signal is passed via this cable. The aerial socket is on the other side of the set in this particular case. Quite why PYE did that I don't know, but nonetheless it comes in on this lead here and is passed to a common RF stage which amplifies both sound and vision frequencies. This again is an Alexandra Palace fixed tuned receiver, 45 megacycles vision, 41.5 sound. It's a tuned radio frequency receiver, therefore the actual tuning cannot be varied. It then passes to vision amplifiers, that's the vision frequency amplifiers and the sound frequency amplifiers. There's two detectors, one for the vision and one for the sound. These valves, by the way, they're in screen cans. If I just pull one of the cans off here, you'll see the valves inside the cans. PYE screened everything in those days. Note that the RF unit, that's the receiver, is very similar to the D16T. It bolts on as a separate unit, It's a very similar unit. It just uses the miniature valves that became available in 1950. You've got the sound output valve, frame output valve, sync separator, all in a nice neat line along there. They're all in the right sequence, so it was quite nice to assemble. It's a very light receiver. You can pick it up quite easily. Now the picture tube, in this particular case, they've got rid of the electromagnetic coil to focus. This is a permanent magnet coil. The picture shift adjustments are behind there. That centres the picture on the actual tube. They're shuffle plates. The picture signal is coming in on this lead. This one lead here provides all the picture signal from the video output stage. That's the picture output stage to modulate the cathode ray tube. It's an MW2216 tube. It has got an eon trap. I will try and explain that when I show you the picture, because on this particular tube, I'm pretty sure it's an MW2216. When I turn it around, we'll verify that, and I'll try and explain that to you. So there we are. Now I'll just slip it round. I've removed the can. There's a screening can that fits over here on the line output stage to show you. We've got the line output valve. That's a self-oscillating line output valve for economy. As I say, it was a very cheap receiver. I think it was around about £45 plus the purchase tax in those days. It certainly wasn't an expensive set. There's a mains rectifier there. It's a PZ30. That's a PL38, by the way. The mains rectifier, the PZ30, is a boost diode and also the mains HT rectifier. There's a little EY51 high voltage rectifier there. This is flyback EHT, so it was a much simpler set to produce than the D16T. Now the tube on this, just tip this up. Yes, it is an MW2216. I thought it was. The little 9-inch Mollard tube. So there we are. That's the chassis. I'll slip it into the cabinet, and then I'll put a picture on it again, and I'll show you the actual what it actually looks like. I'll try and put it on a moving picture again, and I'll explain it to you.
I'm glad you called me that night.
So am I. All right, everybody, let's bring up some these, huh? Come on. Come on, yeah. Got the record there, Mark. The record? Mm-hmm. 3 cents? That's right. That's the boy.
We'll have to leave it there. That's the PYE LV30 9-inch television of 1950, playing a bit from the Glenn Miller story. Hope you enjoyed it.